This world is a dream-like manifestation, and you manifest your dream life by the thoughts you think and the thoughts that you don't think. Hey, my name is ɪନିର୍ᴛᴇ일ᴛɪᴏ, and by the end of this video, you will be able to see this life as a dream, malleable, flexible, and directly responsive to your mental activity. And with this understanding, you'll be able to make a positive impact, a shift, a change to your mood, your career, your relationships, or any other area of life to which you apply this understanding, seeing that things are not solid objective realities out there that are imposed on you, but in fact quite the opposite. They're inner subjective realities. They're imposed on this dreamlike substance that we call consciousness, life, this very experience. So, if you're about this, then go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon to be notified every time we put out brand new videos, new meditations, helping you to master your dream reality. And now, let's dive right in. So, how do we begin to discern that this life is a dream? Let's begin by taking a look at our dream experiences at night, the dreams that we have when we sleep. If you remember your dreams at all, you will have a sense that some dreams seem to run kind of on autopilot. You're just kind of watching and things are happening and you wake up and you're like, wow, I did this and that and I was there and these things happen. But then there are those rare dreams in which you seem to have more lucidity, more clarity, more wakefulness within the dream itself. And in those dreams, whatever you think is happening, whatever you think might happen, actually becomes the substance of your dream, actually becomes the happening. Say, for example, that you find yourself in a lucid dream and you say, I'd like to see a sandwich in my hand. You hold up your hand and there appears a sandwich. If you haven't tried this, then I highly recommend watching some documentaries or movies on lucid dreaming or astral projection, or even reading some of the books on lucid dreaming. What that will give you is an insight into how our waking reality actually works. The only big difference between our sleeping dreams and our waking dreams is that in our sleeping dreams, things manifest very quickly. Those changes in our mental activity become outpictured as the experience of our dream very, very quickly. You may say that the dream experience is a quick mirror of our mind. It's not instant, but it is very, very quick. On the other hand, this experience of living day to day in this physical, so-called reality, this is a slow mirror. You change your mental activity, but the mirror still shows you something else. Just as if you were going to look at the mirror on the wall and you are frowning, and then you say, okay, I'm going to change my reflection. And you start smiling, but the mirror image is still frowning at you. You see, this is how we get trapped. We get trapped because this is a slow mirror, and it's so difficult for us to recognize, especially when our mind is running on autopilot and is just moving from craving to aversion, from desire to fear, and we're just kind of pinballed around our moments of life. But if we can really slow down, and in fact writing is an incredible way to do this, by journaling, by keeping a diary, a log, you can actually reflect back on experiences in life and you can begin to see this slow mirror effect. You can begin to see how thoughts and ideas change in your mind and how your corresponding experience of life begins to change as well. Now, let's take one more angle at this. Imagination. So if you were to close your eyes right now and imagine in front of you that you are holding out your hand, just like this, and in your hand is a single rose. So there it is, in your imagination, there's a rose here in your hand. In physical reality, there is no rose, but in your imagination there is, and you may bring it to your nose and get that sweet scent of the rose essence. So what is that? What is that substance that this reflected in our experience as this image of a rose, this, perhaps it is a weak image, perhaps it is kind of subtle and hard to see, not so much like actually looking at your hands with your eyes. But nonetheless, what is that in which thought projects and expresses itself on the screen of time and space through imagination in such a way that we begin to actually experience it? Maybe a subtle experience, yes, but an experience nonetheless, right? There was a rose, wasn't there? There wasn't nothing. So, from this point of view, we can begin to discern that this experience of life, what we call everyday life, what we call this human existence, this dream, this world, is in fact a dream. It is a collective dream. It is a dream much like your dreams at night, where there's of course people, and there's people in your dreams, and they may even be speaking a different language. You may not even understand the people inside of your own dream at night. So, but yet, where are they coming from? Aren't they arising out of your consciousness? In fact, in your dream, you could go to a language school and learn the language of those dream characters and begin to actually interact with them in their own language. Where's this language from? Where are the characters from? Why must you learn something that is already actually within you and being projected into this, let's say, holographic reality of a dream? Well, in fact, this is what happens. And we are very, very capable of showing ourselves things that we apparently don't know anything about. You can imagine a scenario where you are speaking to somebody and not understanding what they're saying, right? So in that same moment, how could it be that you are imagining a scenario because it's all coming out of you and yet you're not understanding? So here is the dilemma. The dilemma is this. We have a mode of operation that we may call, I like to call autopilot. And this autopilot moves you through life in a dreamlike fashion in which you have very little control, very little choice. In fact, some people have deluded themselves to the point that they think that there is no free will, that there is no will for you to exert, that life is just happening to you. And yes, it is happening. Yes, it is predetermined, but it's predetermined in such a way that there are infinite tracks of predetermination. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure storybook, where you can turn to page 59 and go left, or turn to page 89 and go right, and both of these options start from one kernel and then project out into completely different experiences. We have this experience, or this capacity of choice. So, beholding the world in this context, looking at it as a dream reality, allows us to begin to tinker with it, allows us to begin to doubt the immovable blocks that sometimes appear as our life circumstances. So when we can begin to doubt, when we can begin to doubt our own powerlessness, when we can begin to cultivate some sense of, well, how do I navigate this dream reality? And the way that we do is by controlling our thinking, our thoughts. You have a mind, but does that mind control you, or are you controlling it? For the most part, for most of humanity is controlled by the thoughts that are served to it by the autopilot, by the automation mechanism which moves you along through life, by a karmic default. You see, whatever is karmically happening based on your interactions, based on the push and pull, the resistance, the opposition, all of these kind of Newtonian, in a way, laws where we interact with each other and we are seeking equilibrium. It is, in essence, the homeostasis. That's what karma is that it's trying to bring you into an equality. You push there and you get pushed back. Okay? And so we learn very slowly through that mirror. But that is not the only way. You don't have to operate based on that autopilot. That is a default that is kind of like a fail-safe mechanism. It's painful. You learn through suffering. But you do wake up. It wakes you up eventually. But there is another way, and the other way is to take conscious responsibility for your thoughts, to determine for yourself that I am going to consciously master my life experience. If this is an expression of my thoughts, a reflection of my thoughts in the slow mirror dream-like experience of the world, well then, let me dream a beautiful dream. Let me dream a lovely dream, something that is truly of good rapport, something I am excited about, that I am joyful to create. And then you take this on as a mission. You say, okay, I am going to prove to myself that I have the capacity to manipulate my dream reality. And here is how I'm going to do it. And the way that you do it is that you set a goal and you operate your thoughts in such a way as to think from the position that the goal has already been accomplished. This is the way that it would go in the dream reality. You hold up your hand and you say, I want to see a sandwich. And then you start to see the sandwich and the sandwich begins to appear. This is how it worked in our imagination. You say, okay, I want to see a rose, and the rose begins to appear. This is what we do to navigate this dream reality. So I hope this has served you. Look out for upcoming videos on the law of belief and how to actually begin to move away from the autopilot and take conscious, masterful control over your thoughts and your experience. If you want to see that, be sure to click the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon to be notified when those brand new videos do come out. And if you found this helpful, please share it with someone else who can also benefit from this renewed perspective of knowing that they're not a victim to the circumstances of life, but in fact, it's just been that the autopilot aspect of ourselves has been creating our life, but now we have this opportunity to take back the reins.